Hi, I'm Charlotte with Freezer Meals 101. We are going to be having a lot of fun today. I had some leftover prepped ingredients from when my neighbor Christy and I did our massive mega freezer meal marathon. We made 126 freezer meals. So that was, by the time I get this video edited, it's gonna seem like it was a long time ago, but that just happened in my world. Of course, I don't want those ingredients to go to waste. Normally, at the end of our freezer meal sessions, I'll just invent some recipes right there on the spot. But this time we were really tired and we were just ready to call it a day. We'd made everything that we set out to make, plus a few more. And so we just, ended it, cleaned up, and now that I am refreshed and it is a new day, I am ready to tackle those other ingredients. What I did last night is I went to the Freezer Meals 101 Club. You can find the link for that below. And I typed in some of the ingredients that we had left and found some recipes. Printed those off, and today we're just gonna assemble these meals. My goal is to get a week's worth of dinners done. So this first meal that we're going to make is with cod, and it is a Cajun Butter Cod. We are going to take a 1/4 cup of melted butter, a tablespoon of olive oil, some garlic, Cajun seasoning, and salt and pepper, and that's it. Voila, meal number 1 is done. I don't have labels printed for these, so I'm just using a permanent marker. And I'm going to write the cooking instructions on here, which is 400-degree oven for 15 minutes. Of course, you're gonna thaw these first. The next thing we're gonna do isn't with something I had left over from the freezer meals. It is something I bought while I was shopping for those groceries. There was a massive sale on frozen pork tenderloin. This was like $5. So I am going to make some pork tenderloin and just make a marinade for this. Because it's frozen already, it doesn't fit into my bag super well. So it's gonna have to go into one of those bottom drawers of my freezer so it doesn't mess up my stacks. But it'll still taste delicious, and on the day we make it, of course, we'll thaw it. We're going to do pepper, lemon juice, W sauce, Worcestershire, that one, Dijon, and parsley. But I didn't look for Dijon because I found this bourbon molasses mustard in my pantry, and I thought, that sounds like fun. So we're gonna add this instead of the Dijon, and this is gonna be a good one. All right, next we're gonna move on to one of my favorite soups. It's our third son's absolute favorite. Not just soup, but absolute favorite meal. And it is the hearty sausage and zucchini soup. I have a little bit of zucchini in my freezer that when I had tons of garden zucchini, I froze. So I'm gonna grab that for this and then we'll get started. All right, so in this sausage zucchini soup, we've got ground Italian sausage. It's already been browned. I'm using the spicy variety, but you can use mild. It's supposed to have pasta sauce. I don't have any, so I'm gonna use some tomato sauce, and I'm gonna add some Italian seasoning to make it a little more pasta sauce-like. White kidney beans, drained and rinsed. Zucchini. I'm gonna probably double the amount of zucchini that you're supposed to use just because I like zucchini. Carrots peeled and chopped. Onion, garlic, chicken broth. And we're gonna staple some pasta shells in a medium-sized bag to the outside of this bag. That way, when you go to make it, you add the pasta shells in towards the very end of cooking. This is a really nice hearty meal. It's especially nice for winter, but seriously, I make it year-round because we love it. forgot to mention this, but the recipes will be linked in the description below. So although some of these are not so much recipes as just throwing things together, but the ones that have recipes will be linked down below so that you can grab those and easily make these yourself. Looks really good. Now here's a little tip for you. When you're making a soup, if you want to save space in your freezer, then you can skip adding the chicken broth or what vegetable broth, beef broth, whatever, and just add a note onto the bag to add it on the day of cooking. That way your bag's going to be a lot flatter, because as you can see, this is a pretty thick bag. So if you make it without the chicken broth, then it's gonna lay a little flatter. It's not gonna take as much space in your freezer. So I often do that. At the moment, even though my freezer is pretty full, I do have space for it with the chicken broth. So I just did it all together. Now we're gonna do some ground beef recipes. First one is Sloppy Joe's. Always a classic, especially if you have kids. And I had most of the ingredients, so we're making it. When it comes to ground beef, 2 1/3 cups of cooked ground beef equals 1 pound. So it's an easy way to measure when you're doing your freezer meals, when you're assembling them, is you can just leave a measuring scoop in your ground beef, and you can just scoop it out that way, knowing that measurement. Now this calls for 1 1/2 cups, this calls for 1 1/2 pounds. So I'm doing a little more than a pound in there, of course. Now we're doing onion, garlic, salt, pepper. Normally I do green peppers. I don't have any more of those left, so we're skipping that. Mustard powder, chili sauce, tomato sauce, ketchup, W sauce, lemon juice, and a little bit of brown sugar. I think I'm just gonna use up the rest of the onions here, and I will just chop some onions for the next recipe. So this next recipe, I'm kind of just inventing a beef casserole with it's kind of gonna have some Tex-Mexy flavors to it. I'm going to do ground beef again, of course. Some garlic, taco seasoning, green chilies, a can of Rotel, and I'm gonna drain a can of corn. I'm thinking with this that we can cook it up in the skillet, and then when it's all heated up, add cheese on the top, put a lid on there so the cheese melts, and this will just be a really nice, you know, Mexican-esque beef casserole, I don't know, skillet casserole thing. I've had some rice cooking over on the stove because I want to make some chicken fried rice with a little bit of shredded chicken that we have left. This is my Tante Giselle's recipe. She is my dad's sister, and she is an amazing cook, and this recipe is no exception. Okay, this is getting pretty messy and it's a little hard to work in this mess, but I wanted to show you my lovely little onion choppery thing. And it's great for getting out your frustrations too. So you just stick the onion in there and boom. Now we have chopped onion. So even though I ran out of pre-chopped onion, that was easy enough. We're just gonna get this in there. And we're gonna do carrots and peas and sliced water chestnuts, garlic, oyster sauce, soy sauce. Normally you would put celery in here, but I am allergic to celery, so we don't do celery in any of the freezer meals. Now, normally I used cube chicken for this, but what I have left over is shredded, so we're using shredded. Oops, close the bag first before you shake it. Oh my word. I need more tea. I'm gonna open the bag back up after it's all mixed and try to get out as much air as I can. So when you're freezer cooking, air is what causes the freezer burn. So you have to be careful to get rid of it. And this is pretty beautiful when it's done. Isn't that nice? Now I have a bit of shredded chicken left. I could have added it into the chicken fried rice, but I decided that I'm gonna make buffalo chicken with it. So all I'm gonna do is add some Frank's Red Hot in here, give it a stir, and then I'll put it in a medium-sized bag. I love having this on hand to make buffalo chicken quesadillas or to throw it on top of nachos or throw it into a pasta. If you want to see how I make buffalo chicken quesadillas for the freezer, I will put a video right up there of some recent ones that I did for a family ski trip that we went on, and they were delicious. They have already been consumed. Now I am just inventing recipes using what I have left. So we've got some ground beef left, and we've got some of that cubed zucchini from the freezer. So I'm gonna do cumin, garlic. I did find a jar of pasta sauce in my fridge. It's only got a little bit gone from it and it's new. So I'm gonna add that. Rice, because I've got some extra cooked rice from the chicken fried rice. So we're just gonna make a ground beef zucchini rice casserole. And when we bake it, we can top it with cheese. I think this is gonna be good. Yeah, cumin, salt, pepper, garlic. It's gonna work, it's gonna be great. Maybe I should do Italian seasoning. Yeah, since it's got the tomato sauce, I'm gonna go for Italian seasoning. No cumin. Okay, here we go. Gonna have our ground beef, zucchini, garlic, Italian seasoning, tomato or pasta sauce, marinara, I'm gonna throw a little bit of water in here to shake out the jar. Put that in there. Awesome. And rice. Just gonna dump what I've got left. You know, I have to tell you what I'm debating. we have this Spanish rice recipe that is really amazing, and it has black olives in it. And this has some similar things. It has the tomato sauce, it's got the ground beef, it's got rice, and it has kind of Italian flavors, maybe not Spanish, but you know, I'm thinking, why not? So here we go. I drained that. Now you get a little bit of insight into how my brain works and how I come up with some of our best recipes. I've also come up with some flops, but we always test them before we put them on the website or in the Freezer Meals 101 Club, so you only get the best. But this is how my brain works, and how I kind of come up with some of my ideas is, why not? It works in this other recipe, or you know, these flavors tend to go well together, so let's give it a try. Again, we're gonna just seal it without taking the air out first and give it a shake. It is a giant bag. This is gonna make a really nice full meal. Yeah, that looks good. Now we're gonna take the air out. Lovely. I made a note on the bag that we can maybe try topping it with cheese. This could be baked in the oven or cooked in the skillet. Now we have some more Italian sausage left, and Christy and I both love having cooked Italian sausage in our freezers. We use it for on top of homemade flatbread pizza, on top of nachos, to stir into a hash brown casserole or into eggs if you're doing a brunch. So it's very handy to have on hand and saves you a step and saves you having to get the groceries. So I'm gonna fill a few bags for each of us. And then with the rest of the ground beef, I'm going to do some small bags of just a taco meat. Very, very simple, but they'll be nice to have on hand. We still have enough beef left to do another recipe, so I'm just going to quickly throw a soup together. I'm going to do the ground beef, carrots, because I've got some of them left and prepped, garlic, of course, because it's sitting right here. We're gonna do some salt and pepper. You might notice that I had set out some ingredients originally that were in sections, and that's just to save time, because if you have the ingredients set out, then you're not scurrying around looking for things or figuring out that you don't have something. It just saves a lot of time to have them out, and to have them grouped by recipe saves even more time because you're not looking through everything. Now, I have added some recipes as I went along, so that is, of course, got me looking through cupboards for ingredients and stuff. But when I started the recipes that I had planned out, I had everything sitting out here. So I'm gonna add bay leaf, some kidney beans, I'll drain those, some diced tomatoes, some beef broth, and we will add, on the day of cooking, some barley into here, so it'll be just a nice beef broth. Oh, I don't know about the kidney beans now. I don't like the thought of kidney beans and barley. We are gonna skip the kidney beans. We're going to do frozen peas instead, because I still have some of those. This will be a nice hamburger barley soup. Now, onions should go in here too. I don't have any more prepped onions, and it's so easy to just peel an onion and put it through the chopper, but I'm really tired. We made meals for 2 days straight, you know, our 126 meals, and now I'm still cooking, and I'm just ready to sit down. So I'm just gonna get this made and get it done, and it's not gonna have onions, and I'm okay with that. I will add a note on the bag that says add onions, and I always have onions in the house, so on the day of, then I will probably have the energy to quickly dice an onion by pressing it down into my chopper thingy. You know how you just sometimes get to the end of yourself and you just, you know, your feet aren't having it anymore? Well, it's kind of where I'm at, and I know that it seems like just chop the darn onion, but I'm done. This is, I feel great when I open my freezer and see what I've done, but I am also tired. My body's kind of had it. So I will be really glad to get this all cleaned up and have another marathon session behind me. But I couldn't sit down and feel good about it until I got all the ingredients used up, because I don't like to waste things. And this has been great. Now we've got more meals and we've got some more variety, and we're gonna try out some brand new inventions or recipes. Oh my goodness, that was well worth it. We ended up with 8 full meals and those little bags of buffalo chicken and Italian sausage. I'm gonna end up with a bag of the taco meat. So this was a lot of food. That's more than a week's worth of meals. I'm really happy with that. I'm looking at the time. It took me about an hour, but I want to be totally upfront. It took me an hour, but I had all the ingredients prepped. The hamburger was browned, the chicken was cooked, the sausage was browned. The rice was cooking as I did this, so I guess that wasn't done ahead, but for the most part, this was all prepped ahead. So if you go to do this, it might take you more like an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes. The point though today of me having you join me as I made all these recipes was to show you that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the ingredients to a recipe to be able to make it. You can substitute, you can invent, you can play around in the kitchen and have fun. That's one of the best parts about cooking. Cooking is not supposed to be this awful chore. We're so fortunate to have what we have and to be able to feed our families and feed ourselves. And so just find the joy in that. And if you are someone that dreads being in the kitchen, then freezer cooking can be a great way to kind of make your things ahead and not have to think about it again, of course. But while you're doing the freezer cooking, find ways to have fun with it and find ways to not have to be perfect and not have to have everything be exactly the way that you think it needs to be. So hopefully that resonates with you and helps you feel like you can let go a little bit and have a bit of fun with cooking. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to hit that little subscribe button so that you can join us for our future videos. And I will put a link right here to the video that Christy and I just did of those 126 freezer meals, and you can see why we prepped all these ingredients in the first place. Happy cooking!